Titans, Chiefs. Mahomes in the gun with Hunt to his right. 3 receivers left, single man right. Shotgun snap. Mahomes back to pass. Looking, moving to his left. Steps up in the pocket. Escapes an ankle tackle. Runs across the 10. Inside the 5. All the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes with a 15-yard touchdown run. And the Chiefs have taken the early lead. I'd say that ankle is just fine for Patrick Mahomes. First and goal, Texans from the Kansas City 10. Shotgun snap to Stroud. Back to pass, under pressure, rolling to his right, being chased. Throws back across his body into the end zone for a touchdown. Dalton Schultz just inside the goal line, was all alone and makes the catch, a 10-yard touchdown, and the Texans have taken the lead. Mahomes under center. 2 receivers to the right side of the formation. Here's the snap. Going to hand it off to Kareem Hunt. Driving along the right hash. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Kansas City. A 3-yard touchdown plunge for Kareem Hunt. And the Chiefs have retaken the lead with 4:38 to go in the second quarter. 13-10 Kansas City. Here's the snap. Stroud fakes, rolling to his right. Stops his feet, steps back inside. Throws deep down the field for the end zone. Looking for Tank Dell. He's got it. Dell made the catch in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Texans. A 30-yard strike to Tank Dell, and the Texans are an extra point away from tying the game. Dell is down and hurt in the back of the end zone. He collided with his own man and I think got his leg rolled up. And the officials, or the training staff, is out to have a look. Tank Dell, who had his rookie season shortened with a scary injury, is now going to leave this game on a cart. We're going to step aside with 11:40 to go in the third quarter. Chiefs 17, Texans 16. This is Westwood One's coverage of the National Football League. First down and goal from the Texans 8. Trips left, single man right. Mahomes in the gun. Hunt to his right side. Gray in motion from the right. Here's the snap. Mahomes back, looks left, throws left. Wide open, caught, touchdown. It's Xavier Worthy. An 8-yard touchdown pass from Mahomes to Worthy, and the Chiefs extend the lead. 2:42 to go in the third. Kansas City up 23-16.
Third and long now against this Chiefs defense.
Stroud on 3rd and 11. Free rusher comes. Williams gets home. The corner blitz dialed up by Steve Spagnuolo to perfection. 4th down. And up the middle. That'll do it. Kareem Hunt. How far will he take it? Slides down at the 12. Night from KC.
Yeah, look, I didn't think he'd be able to get out and run like that, or would run like that, but he did a great job with all that. So, but yeah, no, he had that mindset right from the get-go at him that he was going to be out there and going, and so he didn't miss a beat. He practiced every rep.
I think it was the second practice. The first practice was still kind of iffy, but then the second practice and being able to move a little bit and do some of the under center stuff, I knew I was going to have a good chance. And so I was able to move enough in the movements. You go under center and run the football, so I felt confident that O-line was going to protect me, which they did a great job today, and I could make some throws. Yeah, I think you're motivated to play a great football team. To play in Pittsburgh, it's a great environment, a great stadium. It'll be rocking. Playing on Christmas, so everybody's going to be watching. And I think more than anything, it's just getting off your feet when you can, but at the same time studying and getting the game plan in. And Coach Reed does a great job of it. But we knew this as part of our schedule from the very beginning, and coaches prepared us, so let's go out there and play our best football.
One is the magic number?
One. No matter what. Almost happened yesterday, kind of. Almost.
Did you ever think that the Bills were actually going to lose that game?
At 14-0, I was like, well, 2 touchdowns is like a lot. And then, just to play here or there. And then they scored 24 points in a row, and I thought it was kind of over. I did not think when the Patriots scored and had the onside kick, no chance they were going to get the onside kick. So
right.
Yeah. But it was neat, like, first quarter. It was fun.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was cute. That was cute. It was cute.
Does this mean the Bills are a fraud like the Chiefs were when they barely beat bad teams?
No. I don't think any of them are frauds.
Right.
I think they're good teams are good teams.
Yeah.
And you find a way, and that's the division
It's
and
the NFL.
and all of that. The division's tough. You play some of these teams. The Chiefs lost last year to the stinking Raiders and the Broncos and won the Super Bowl.
Right.
So
Right. I was being that was tongue firmly planted in cheek when I asked that question.
Everyone's a fraud.
Yeah.
They're all frauds.
Well, good morning, Kansas City. Welcome to the new day with SSJ. Sans SSJ.
Without SSJ.
Today. He's on vacation
He's
for the
up
holidays.
listening, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I don't
No
think there's
way.
any doubt.
He texted me last night like 8:45. I'm like, I'm about to go to bed, bro.
He texted all of us,
Oh, yeah.
telling us what we need to talk about on the show.
Some time.
You guys better cover this. This is the,
And put it on the rundown.
Yeah.
So make sure we hit that,
We're going to get on that.
please.
Let's not. No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
That's right down my alley.
Yeah, I know it is, but let's not get into federal judges.
Oh, yeah, that part. That's.
I started laughing.
They don't have jurisdiction anyway, do they?
Yeah,
I
who
don't know.
knows?
I don't know.
Not over me.
I know, that's
Not
right.
over me,
He's-
buddy.
You got the proper paperwork.
That's right.
Just ask Jake.
It's that Janet Yellen.
What? But he also texted us about Tim Settle,
The old Timmy Settle.
our good friend Tim Settle.
Who, by the way, no one in Kansas City had ever heard of.
I was just about to ask you. You
Until 5 days
you
ago.
guys are following the NFL more closely than me these days.
Yeah.
I still try to, follow
Sure
the
you do.
league as much as I can, but I'm
Yeah.
mostly I definitely watch all the Chiefs games. I like my red zone, all that. So you didn't know who he was before this?
No, I
You-
saw.
You weren't like a big Tim Settle.
I pulled the soundbite last week, and I had to Google. I was like, where did Tim Settle even play before this, and where did he go to college? And I'm like, oh, he's a guy. Listen, this is a guy who's making money in the NFL. I mean,
For
that's
7
good.
or 8 years, right?
Yeah, he's like a 5th-round pick. He's been in the league. Good for him. He's on his 3rd team. He's been making money. Good for him.
That also just seems like, okay, you've been around the block a couple times. You got to be smarter than that. Like if it's a rookie that's doing the Kermit the Frog thing, you're like, hey, dummy, you
Yeah.
know. But you're
That
a rookie.
that a fan threw the Kermit the Frog
Yeah.
out there. Well, the Raiders guy didn't fashion the Kermit the Frog. He just got caught up in something.
He fell for something,
Yes.
and he's a young guy. So you go, well, that was stupid, but you're a young guy.
I will tell you that Tim Settle did play a couple years for the Bills. So
Yeah,
maybe
I was
he's had
gonna
enough
say
Chiefs.
I think that's where it comes from.
Yeah, he's
I
had
mean,
enough Chiefs in his life.
he had played 2 years with the Bills, and I think there's a
Lost in the playoffs to the Chiefs. So,
yes,
you know.
there's a disdain for the Chiefs there.
But you're standing in front of a camera.
It's
It's 2024.
He's having a good year, man.
Yes, good for him.
Yeah, he was.
He's feeling
This
it.
is all he's going to be remembered for. He's going to be remembered by a lot of people for it.
Dude, he's got
He's feeling it. He's got 5 sacks on the
He
year,
was
man.
feeling. He didn't. How many sacks did he have on Saturday?
none. He
Yes,
had
yeah.
How many quarterback pressures did he
none.
have? I know the answer.
But
to
he
those.
touched Patrick Mahomes' knee on that touchdown run.
He did. He got run over by Patrick. Run through by
Yeah,
Patrick.
he got run
Mahomes didn't
through.
run him over,
No,
but he
but-
ran through him.
Ran through the tackle.
He laid there on the ground looking up at Patrick Mahomes run into the end zone.
Got freeze framed by everybody in the world.
Oh, yeah. Bobby Stroop made sure
Oh,
everybody knew
boy.
immediately.
Here's what I'll tell you. My last week was a kind of a weird week because of how the schedule was. It was Saturday, and the things started early, and that happened whatever day it was. So we weren't in the locker room for a good portion of the week. So on Thursday, which was Fast Friday, but it was Thursday because the game was Saturday, I went in the locker room after Coach Reed talked. I asked Coach Reed, not specifically about Tim Settle, but just like noise coming out of Houston and your message to the guys, and he's just like, we just play.
Yeah.
Right, we get that.
Right.
So I go in the locker room, and there's not a lot of guys around, but I wanted to go over and try to talk to, one of the offensive linemen because there's a defensive lineman who said this. So Trey Smith's a very nice guy. And I went over and I said, hey, you got a few seconds? He's like, man, I really got to go. I got people in town, whatever. And I'm fine. So I was just talking to him, not recording. I'm like, did you see this stuff that, came out of there? He's man, I just haven't seen anything. We don't pay attention to that stuff. And I was just like, you ain't seen nothing? You ain't seen nothing on this?
Yeah.
Listen, they saw everything that came out of there. And then, so Steve, I was in the locker room for a little bit, and Steven was in the locker room as well. And he's told us that Joe Cullen was Chiefs defensive line coach.
Mm-hmm.
is shouting loudly. Asked Tim Settle about it or whatever. So, they all knew and heard and saw.
He said, go blanking ask Tim Settle about it.
Yeah.
Go ask Tim Settle.
Yeah.
So they heard it.
Yeah.
But the Chiefs, that's the thing. Like, the Chiefs don't really do much of that.
They just don't do it.
They don't take the bait. They don't take the bait.
Willie Gay is gone, Nate.
But also when you're defending champions 2 times back to back, you don't
have to play that game.
Yeah, you don't. You're not trying to knock anybody off.
Right.
Yeah.
You're wearing the crown. You don't have to talk about it if you're wearing it.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs just don't get into that much. Willie Gay accidentally said he wasn't impressed by the Bengals offense once, and
I clearly tricked him into that.
Total trick. and then Justin Reed a couple years ago misidentified the number of their tight end and caught some crap. But none of that stuff's on purpose. Now, Justin, I think, tweeted something once or Instagrammed something, and he got told, "Don't do that. That's not what we do here." So he was learning his way around.
Yeah.
And Tyron would Instagram stuff every once in a while, and most of that was about the toxic fan base in Kansas City and Anthony Hitchens. It wasn't even about whatever. But they don't stand up at the podium. They don't stand in front of cameras and say stuff.
They just don't get in. They don't seem to get engaged. They don't take the bait.
No.
They don't take the.
As Andy said, they just play.
Yeah, as soon as somebody comes, as soon as the Kermit the Frog thing happens, immediately everybody goes to Mahomes, and he just says it'll get handled when it gets handled.
Yeah, he's handled.
But they definitely keep receipts. I mean, we've seen that enough times. Like, we've seen Mahomes go out there and count
numbers,
and we've seen Instagram posts of Creed Humphrey.
Yeah.
His Instagram post was broken promises.
Yeah.
Because Settle said this isn't a threat, it's a promise. Yeah, well. And so you're just putting yourself out there, but they definitely keep receipts. And then Travis Kelce had something to say.
Well, yeah, at the end of the game.
At the end of the game,
we're up in the press box, and I was not watching TV. I was watching the game through my binoculars, and I'm looking at the end of the game now to see what part of this got on there. But it was the kneel down time, and Travis Kelce, was jawing, absolutely jawing at Tim Settle, and so much so that Patrick had to go over and be like, "Come on, bro." What are you doing here? Because it was going to get you didn't want a 15-yard flag and all that kind of stuff. And so then the very last snap of the game, they just got him off the field. Like Andy came over and got him over by him. He was still kind of yelling from the sideline. And Patrick, after the game, I asked him about it. He's like, "Hey, Travis is just a competitor, all this bit. But if there's a mic'd up and and it was like an unfiltered mic'd up, from what was getting said there at the very end of that, probably pretty good."
Yeah.
It's probably pretty good. But, yeah, they knew what was happening. And, I just watched this here. Travis Kelce is not in there on that kneel down.
Yeah, that's just Travis. He loves competing. So that he's always going to have that, and I'm never going to stop it because, that's what makes him such a special football player and leader on this team. But, no, that's a good defense, really good pass rush, obviously, good DBs. They do a great job, and so I was proud of how our offense competed today. Obviously there were some 3-and-outs here and there that we got to get better at, but other than that, I thought we moved the ball well and scored points in the red zone. So it was a step in the right direction, but we want to be better going into the playoffs, and we'll be challenged again this next week.
All you can really see on the TV coverage of this is they kneel, and then it goes to Andy, and you see Andy turn to his right and go, "Hey," and then they cut to Travis like this. So you couldn't see he was. He was blah, 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 blah,
right
blah,
in
blah,
his
blah,
mug,
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it was smart to get him off the field because, you just don't need ugliness. Yeah. I think all the handshake stuff was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't see any troubles there. We went to the
You don't want to mar what some have said was the most complete performance of the Chiefs of the year.
Andy kind of said that after the game. He's like, this was good.
Yeah.
27-19
Chiefs beat the Texans, who are a good football team. The Texans fall to 9-6. They're good. They have a good quarterback. They have a good team, and the Chiefs handled them 27-19. Coming up on the show today. By the way, my name's Nate Bukaty. I'm filling in for Stephen St. John, who's on vacation for the holidays. Todd Leabo's in studio. Jake Gutierrez is running the show up until Christmas, and then the rest of the week is going to be me and the Drake.
Yeah.
This week. We've got Pete Sweeney in studio at 7 o'clock to talk all things Chiefs. Catherine Tappan, who was on the sideline for this game. So if you watched the game on television, you saw her on the field of the pregame report updating us on Mahomes' ankle. And then we're going to get her perspective on the Tank Dell situation because that was a gruesome injury. They're saying a dislocated kneecap.
And possible – he did not have surgery, I guess. He flew back to Houston yesterday, and there could be some multi-tendon, hopefully not a fracture. I mean, it's just like – it was worse. Like when Patrick Mahomes' kneecap went out and they popped back in, this was worse than that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't spend the night in the hospital.
His leg went in a direction that it's not supposed to go. We saw that when we were watching it. We've talked about this, but my wife has this thing where she likes to watch gruesome sports injuries.
Yeah, you know.
As a
hobby?
As a hobby, I guess. As a physical therapist, she's fascinated by the mechanics of it all. She likes to see, that's, wonder where, the leg,
where's
that must
going to
have
end
been
up?
this. Yeah. I can't. I saw it one time. I was like, you can go watch that, Kelly, because I'm not watching it again. Anyways, we'll talk to Catherine Tappan about all that, and then Bill Moss will join us at 9 o'clock. So we got a full show coming up. And the Chiefs now are 14-1, and yes, their magic number is 1. There was a brief time where you thought maybe the New England Patriots could do the Chiefs a solid. They were up 14-0 on the Bills, but the Bills came back and won. That means the Chiefs still theoretically need to win a game. And when you look at the Bills' schedule the rest of the way, you can say
Jets and Pats.
They probably do need to win a game still, the Chiefs. That means this game coming up, this is a tough game for the Kansas City Chiefs on Christmas Day, right? I mean, that's a painfully obvious statement, maybe because Pittsburgh's a good team. Pittsburgh's 10-5. They're playing for their division. They just lost, so they're going to be angry. It's also that thing where you have to do the quick turnaround twice. This is 2 consecutive short weeks for the Chiefs. And a quarterback who luckily didn't get touched too much during the game, although he did get hit on some runs. The Chiefs have a reason to really feel like they need to go play, try to win this game. Obviously, the Chiefs don't have to win this one necessarily to clinch that home field advantage, but their mindset. It's at the Steelers and then at the Broncos. That's not going to be a cakewalk either. I look at this and say, the Chiefs don't have the 1 seed locked up. Do you guys?
No, they got to win a game.
They got to win a game.
Until you win the games. Now, listen, they've won almost every game.
They're 2 tough road games, though.
Right? I think a lot of people. I think the Chiefs. Well, here's the deal. The big picture. You'll hear this asked a lot today. Chiefs have availability today, because this is now. It's not even Fast Friday. This is like a Monday and a Friday jammed together. So we're going to get Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and players at the podium and all this stuff. They're all going to get asked. You heard Andy after the game get asked about it. He says, you're going to pay my fine to Rob Collins at Fox 4 on complaining about this schedule. Listen, this isn't ideal for anyone. But what the NFL has done is they put the 4 teams in the same boat. They all have a home game and a road game. They all had 6 days rest and 4 days rest. So they're all in the same boat. So no one's getting really screwed over here because they did the same thing to all of them. And they chose teams that don't have 85-hour flights to get anywhere. It's all kind of here in the central part of the country. It's not that bad. But this is tough. The National Football League's a hard thing. But this is kind of the same thing of going Sunday, Thursday. You just went Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday. I mean, it's 1 day different. But they did it because of greed. That's what it is. They took this money from Netflix to put these games on. I will remind you right now, you do not have to watch the game on Netflix in Kansas City. It will be on Channel 5. That's what it's on. I think you can watch it on Netflix, but whatever. This is tough. But if you're going to take all the money they give you to play football and you collectively bargain to be in this union and they've okayed all this stuff, that's what it is. Now, you want to cause a stink next time around on negotiations, say, well, we're never going to do this, this, and this. That's fine, but right now these are the games. You're going to go out and play the games. And it looks like they got some pretty good important games. You're rolling the dice when you schedule these things out. These couldn't be flexed. They got some pretty important games here for this. So they're going to get tens of millions of people watching these on Christmas, and they're going to absolutely destroy the NBA on Christmas, which they've done the last couple of years they've played. And that's just how it's going to be. So the Chiefs need to go win one of these last 2 games. I suggest winning this one. Pittsburgh is a team that's going the wrong way right now. When we looked at this 2 weeks ago, you're like, this could be, this is 1-seed game for Pittsburgh. Well, Pittsburgh's toast on the 1 seed. They've lost a couple of games. They lost to Baltimore on Saturday in the second half of the doubleheader, and they lost the game the week before as well to Philadelphia.
Yeah, they're not exactly bad losses.
No, they're not, but they've lost. So, they're that's a playoff team and all that. They're not going to win their division. They basically lost that the other day, and now they want to go beat the Chiefs. Everyone wants to beat the Chiefs. That's what you want to do. The Chiefs are the 2-time defending champion. They're the big bully on the block, even though they're bullying people by winning by 3 points or whatever. Although the last 2 weeks have been 8 or 9 and whatever, and 10. They were more than normal, but yeah, the Steelers absolutely want to win this game.
The Steelers haven't lost their division yet, by the way.
They're still there,
tied,
but
they're tied with the Ravens at 10-5.
That was a bad loss for them.
It was a bad loss for that, but if they found a way to beat the Chiefs, they got the Bengals in the last game.
Yes.
And as you pointed out, this game, this doubleheader on Christmas Day is a really good one because the other one is Ravens-Texans.
Yes.
And so if the Ravens lost that game, then the Steelers could still win the division. But your point is well taken. They've lost 2 in a row. They've had 2 tough games in a row. A lot of times, like the Steelers are the type of team where I remember Mitch Holthus used to bring this point up a lot, that teams – the week after they played the Steelers, their record's really bad because you just get beat up. So the theory being you get beat up so badly by the Steelers that the next week you pay the price. The Steelers might be facing that a little bit because I think they played the Ravens. They had a tougher game maybe than the Chiefs did against the Texans. But we'll see because the Chiefs do have some injury news. Chris Jones picked up an injury through the course of the game. He was listed as if there was practice yesterday, he would have been a did not participate. So we'll see. There's a couple guys that are banged up for the Chiefs, but for the most part,
they called
Hollywood Brown back.
I saw 50-50 is what, I don't know, one of those guys on one of the Talking Head shows yesterday said for Chris Jones. He was walking around fine after the game on the field, shaking hands. He was not available to us to speak to because they can say that if someone is injured, you can't talk to him. Jawan Taylor did not finish the game. Wanya Morris finished the game at right tackle. So there's some things here for sure with these guys.
We'll get to all that. Pete Sweeney will join us at 7 o'clock. We'll break down everything about the Chiefs through the course of the morning as well. We're going to take a break right now. When we get back, we're going to talk about those thrilling, nail-biting college football playoff games. Right after this is New Day with SSJ. Oh, Jake. Yes. I think this album might have changed the genre of rap music as much as any album in the history of the genre.
Album.
What do you think?
You old man.
Well, what is an album?
I don't know what it is.
A collection of
release.
songs.
A collection of things,
They're
right?
still albums.
You can
Yeah.
have a photo album.
That's
You
right.
can have a music album. It's
an
just
album.
a collection.
It's a collection.
It's not a vinyl.
That's
just
vinyl.
That's
Album of baseball cards.
Yeah.
Yeah. Photo album.
Yeah.
My
It's
card
an
album.
It's still an album.
It's an album.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Digital album now.
Uh,
They're all too long now. I like the physical deals because they couldn't put 2 hours of bad things. You know, just you're limited. You can
you're
do
limited
this
to
much.
how much. There's only so much space.
Tell me who you could take 6 of these songs off any of these new things and say, save it for the B-sides.
There's only so many times anymore that I listen to a whole album.
It's-
You know, like
just don't do it.
I'm trying to remember. Like
I do it when I mow, just to try.
yeah, yeah.
Because that's like the time I'm
Yeah.
all right. I'm doing it. My hands are busy. I can't just change something. You know, I'm mowing. I put the
Yeah.
thing on. Like, all right, let's do this. Let's get through
I've
one.
listened to a couple of full albums lately. New ones, I guess.
I listened to the
newer.
Glass Animals album all the way through a bunch of times.
I mean,
Like,
just to check out new, like
Yeah, you're
Jack,
gonna find stuff.
Jack
Yeah.
White's new album. I
Yes.
listened to that
yeah.
whole thing.
If it's an artist you know you really like,
311 had a new album come out about a month ago.
how was it?
It's pretty
They
good.
still got the same sound and everything.
Yeah, very similar. I
Yeah.
mean, they mix it up. They
Yeah.
it's
They
good.
got a cello in it now or something different.
Cello. Yeah, big cello band now.
big horn section now.
Interesting.
Right.
So
Are you ready
The
to poop on the playoffs?
no,
Okay, good.
no.
I don't want to poop on the playoffs either.
I was about to ask
They
you
were
if you were
poop,
gonna
though.
poop on the play.
Yeah, listen. Here's the deal.
An average score of they won by 19 over 19
It's not
points.
great.
This is disappointing, but
It was disappointing, but here's the thing.
Awesome.
It's
It's
the
the first one. There've only
and
been
it's also-
4 games. That's
it's
all the
also
data we
it's-
have.
It's the first round.
It's the first round of the
I mean,
first
like,
time.
like when you watch the first round of the NCAA tournament,
Almost
yeah,
every game stinks.
Most of the games are, but there's so many
There's
of them. You
Oh.
get you
32 of them.
There's some great first round
There,
NCAA
because there
tournament.
are so many games. But most of the time, the number 1 seed beats the hell out of the
Beats
16
the brakes
seed.
off of them.
You know, 1 time or 2 times now in history, right?
2 times.
2 times now in history, a 16
Yeah.
seed has won. Most of the games are not great, but there's so many games.
You remember the
get,
great ones.
Oh, look, there's a good one over here. Let's watch that one. Oh, look, there's a buzzer beater there. And then every once in a while, you get a whole bunch of chaos and everything,
Yeah.
right? But usually, the best tournament, once it gets to like
Sweet
deeper
16.
into the tournament, is when the best teams advance.
Yeah.
Then you get really good teams playing against each other. Like this, for the most part, is going to make up for a really good next round on neutral sites, isn't
No,
it?
it looks great.
You
Now,
would think.
the other side of this too. I'm not going to stake my reputation on this, but I
Stake
think
it.
there's no
Your
way
sterling
a
reputation?
16 would ever beat a 1 if they played on their home courts. It's also another thing, because you know if
Yeah.
you're at the neutral site, everyone starts cheering for the underdog.
That's
okay?
why I think this round should be at home too.
I wish they were all at home because I think both sites are dumb, and I think it's hard for fans. It costs them more money. All of those things.
I mean, I would be pumped if this round, like,
Oh
if
my
you got
God,
the
it'd be the
atmosphere,
best.
if you got the atmosphere that we had this weekend
Yes.
for these
Dude, and
games
by the way,
coming
how
up,
about if Penn State had to go to Boise?
right?
Yes.
On the
I
blue
would
turf,
love that.
that would be awesome.
Oh my gosh, I would love
It
that.
would be great.
I
Yes.
would love that.
But-
and I would love to hear all the people from the Big Ten bitch.
But then, you
'Cause,
know,
they're really better than Boise State.
The machine of the bowls
Right.
is grasping on still. They ran college football forever, and they've lost a lot of power, but they're still in on it a little bit.
Sure.
So, whatever.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
tradition of the bowl sites.
how long do we complain about not having a playoff? Now we have it. Now we got to bitch about something else.
Oh yeah, we'll be.
It would have been great if the games were better. Here's the deal. You know, if Indiana doesn't throw the pick at the very beginning of the game and they give up a 98-yard touchdown run, maybe that game's a little bit different. But you know what?
Maybe.
They did.
There
if
was-
SMU didn't throw 2 pick sixes,
Right.
I mean, James
There
Franklin.
was one lead change between
the
all
whole
four
thing.
games. All 4 games.
James Franklin went for 4th down at his own 19-yard line and got stuffed. And it's like, what is this dummy doing? And the guy threw a pick 6, you know, or another pick. It was like, you know, there were some things going that were fun, but then they all turned into nothing. There was no reason to watch the end of any of them.
Well,
So-
I think it was perfect that Kirk Herbstreit went on his rant the day after the first game was Indiana Notre Dame. That was the one standalone game, and it was not as like you look at the final score and you go, "Oh, you talking about?" It was
two
a close
touchdowns
game.
last minute. 25.
They were down 27-3.
Nobody was watching that
And
except the diehards and the gamblers.
So Kirk Herbstreit was brought on, ESPN to talk about it, before the rest of the games the next day, and it was basically like he said, well, Indiana, they won 11 games. They didn't beat anybody all year, and the selection committee should learn from this and not just take teams because they won a bunch of games. It's who you beat, who you beat. I want to know who he wanted in instead of them.
Yeah,
Alabama.
Alabama, South Carolina, Ole Miss, someone.
Who did those guys lose to?
They all lost games.
They all lost bad games.
Yes,
right?
bad games.
They all lost
yes.
bad. So
it's hard to pick 12 teams because you're not picking 12 either.
My point
you're picking
is, like,
8.
You didn't take some team that
7,
had
really.
nothing but good losses.
No.
And leave them at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if it was a team that had, they had 2 more losses than Indiana, but they were the really good teams, okay, fine.
Do you want to play his comments?
Yeah, let's go ahead and play it real quick. This I'm not. This isn't also for me to poop all over Kirk Herbstreit. I understand the point he's making, and this was before he had all the information of the games that were about to come. This was after the Indiana Notre Dame game.
That I hope next year the committee won't get caught up in what the social media and a lot of people who are fringe fans get caught up in, which is wins. They had 11 wins. They must be good. Who did they beat? I think is much more important than how many wins you have. That's old school way of approaching it. Indiana having 11 wins and beating nobody, that doesn't mean they're one of the 12 best teams. Remember, I know, Linda, I'm not taking this out on you, but there's a big difference between deserving and best.
Yeah.
What this is all about is giving us the best 12 teams. Now, it's subjective. How you want to figure out the best 12 is up to you. But that's what I want to see. I don't want to hear about wins. How many winnings?
Okay, and that turned out to be the closest game.
Yeah.
Indiana, the team that he was basically implying did not deserve to go because they didn't beat anybody, actually played the closest game. When you look at the other scores that were about to come after Herbstreit said that, Clemson lost by 14. That was a team with 4 losses, by the way. That got in.
They won their They won their league, though. And I think they do need to let the teams in that win their league.
100%.
Now, maybe they should seed them different, whatever.
100%.
You have to have
100%.
a value. Otherwise, get rid of those dumb games.
I'm just pointing out that the scores here. Penn State 38-10 over SMU, and then the mighty SEC, Tennessee.
This is the one that fell with a thud.
42-17, and it got to halftime, and you thought it might be a game because Tennessee got a couple scores at the end of the first half, and I was deciding, do I want to go back and rewatch the Chiefs game, or do I want to give this game a little bit longer? When they got the second score, it caused me to waste a little bit more of my time because I watched some of the third quarter, and then I was like, Tennessee is not.
By the way, Tennessee lost to Arkansas. I mean, they all had crappy losses. Okay, this is the deal, and I think it's great for college football because the reason these teams are losing is because players are going and playing everywhere for money. The talent is spread all over the place.
Yeah.
Alabama lost 3 times this year. They haven't lost 3 times in forever. Now, Nick Saban's not their coach anymore, whatever, but they lost. LSU lost. Did you see Florida
You mean
State?
Alabama Jones?
How many?
Oh, my God, that was great. Oh, my God.
see that. What's that?
You don't know about Alabama Jones?
You don't know about Alabama Jones?
Shane Gillis.
Oh, yeah, I did
accused Nick Saban of
cheating.
Basically said, and then like everybody, he was like, I thought this is a fun show or this is serious. Oh, Alabama Jones over there because he had an Indiana Jones looking hat on, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry, I guess you're right. No, the SEC's never been paying players. I'm sorry, I got that.
And then Nick Saban went on.
I didn't mean to interrupt,
this.
but you mentioned Nick Saban. I had to bring up Alabama Jones.
I don't care what Nick Saban says. Dudes, we heard Garrett Dieter talk about cars families had down there. Okay?
I don't care that they were paying players.
It's what it is.
I think the NCAA has been violating the rights of student athletes for decades, so I don't care.
But your point being that they're getting paid, so people are leaving.
They're leaving. They're going anywhere.
Yeah.
And they've allowed all this to happen. So I do think that the things that are going to suffer, as long as they keep the conference champion and the way they determine the championship game, that game's still important, and you have to place some value on it. Otherwise, if they say you don't get a bye Maybe teams won't even want to win that thing. Does Ohio State look like a better team now that they didn't have to play an extra game? They looked really good the other day. I thought they might fall on their face because they were so bad at home against Michigan. It was such an ugly loss, but they rallied the troops, and they probably took that time when they didn't play a conference championship game to come out better. So I think when we get the data over the years, we'll probably find out. In basketball, does the big boys want to win their conference championship?
Tournament
no.
or regular season?
They don't want to win the tournament.
The tournament is secondary.
It's just extra work. They want to start getting ready and get a little rest because they might play on a Thursday and all this kind of stuff. So I think some teams may not want to win that. Now, we'll see if Ohio State having to play this week and not getting a bye to the next week, how that rust goes. But as we said, this is all first year. It's all guesswork. We don't know how it's all going to work out. And I'm telling you, the Penn State quarterback is in the transfer portal. And he was just, but what if Drew Aller got hurt and had to go play? I mean, that's the world we're living in. These guys are in the portal, but they're sitting there dressed and ready to play.
Also, he had an impact on their season. The guy had 9 touchdowns on the year.
Yes, it's like, it's just insanity. All of it is. So just watch the games when they're on, enjoy them, and hope they're better games this next time around. Because, here's the deal, by the way. We've had some turd national championship games. We've had some turd 4-team playoff games. It's just how it is. Not every game can be great. They can't be. We remember the, USC-Texas game, back and forth and all this stuff, but they're not all like that. Sometimes the title games are no good.
So what we have now coming up on New Year's Eve, Penn State versus Boise State. Penn State's a 10.5-point favorite.
You can hear it right here on Sports Radio 810.
In Glendale, Arizona.
Yeah, the tradition-rich, State Farm Stadium or whatever.
The VRBO Fiesta Bowl.
Absolutely.
Tostitos seem like such a more natural fit as a sponsor, but we
for take the money where it is.
Yeah. Then on New Year's Day, in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, you got Texas versus Arizona State.
Yep.
Then
you got the Rose Bowl.
The classic Big 12 versus
we got
SEC matchup.
Yeah.
But which team's in the Big 12? Not Texas. Anyway, Ohio State versus Oregon, Big 10 showdown.
SEC, yeah.
And then Notre Dame versus Georgia. Those are the games that you're going to have coming up. So I'm with you. Look, first of all, four data points is not enough to sit there and say, well, this system is wrong. I hope they don't. I want to see teams like Indiana, SMU, and Boise State in this thing. One of the things I've always hated about college football is there's this, and I feel like there's a little bit of that mindset creeping in from Kirk Herbstreit, who's an Ohio State alum and all that. There's this we'll decide who the good teams are mentality about the whole process, right? Oh, well, you guys won your games, but you're not playing in a real league, so you don't count. Up until this point, you could play Division I football and go undefeated and not have a chance to play for the national championship.
Oh, for sure.
That is absurd.
And not even get a decent bowl game.
Yeah. That's just, I'm sorry. At the end of the day, I do disagree with Kirk Herbstreit on something, which is I think winning does matter.
Yeah.
I think that sports are supposed to be about winning. And I understand some teams play a harder schedule than others and all that, and that's why you should have conference champs get in. And if the conference champs get in, I really don't want to hear anybody complain about not making it. You had your chance.
Win your conference.
You had your chance. All you had to do was win your conference. If you do, you're in. If you didn't win your conference,
win more games.
I don't feel sorry for you at all.
Use those old counting stats like wins and win your conference.
And I think what the big boys from the SEC and the Big Ten are scared of is that teams that if teams that are not traditional powers keep getting let in, they'll actually start winning some of these games. And I think they don't like that because, no, we just would rather tell you, no, we're the best.
Well, this will push it to 16 games eventually. No, which is fine. I'll take 16. I don't want any more than that. But you know what? I don't want to watch the Citadel go play at an SEC team in November. Screw that game.
You don't.
I didn't want to see Maine come to Oklahoma in November. Play another league game and play divisions in your league.
It's ridiculous that they don't have divisions in these leagues that are too big for them to play each other anymore.
Maybe they'll change that too.
Well, maybe. We'll see. We'll take a break. Back after this on Sports Radio 810 WHB. All right. I have a tendency to get way ahead of myself on things and get carried away.
No.
Sometimes I turn out to be right with predictions I make early in someone's career. Sometimes I turn out to be wrong.
Yeah?
Like when I told Steven St. John that Joel Embiid, if he could stay healthy, would be a Hall of Fame type player in the NBA.
Nailed it.
While he was a freshman at KU. Seemed like a ridiculous statement at the time, but I was right on that one. I might have been a little wrong on Josh Allen. when I didn't think he was an accurate enough of a passer.
When I told you he was great.
He has gotten a lot better since then, but I might have been wrong. So I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm right all the time. But I'm going to get carried away right now. I had these thoughts as I was watching football yesterday. First of all, I should not already be thinking about a Chiefs Super Bowl opponent because the Chiefs got to get to the Super Bowl in the first place, and I'm not taking that for granted. But I do think that when you've appeared in, 4 of the last 6 Super Bowls?
Yeah, and 1, 2 in a row.
And
I
think
only lost once all year.
It's reasonable to at least think the Chiefs could be in the Super Bowl. I think they are now favorites finally to win the Super Bowl for the first time all year in Vegas. But as I was watching the games yesterday, you know what I actually think would be the most intriguing Super Bowl matchup?
What's
at
that?
least the one that I would want to watch the most?
Chiefs versus somebody, I hope.
Yep.
Okay.
The Commanders.
Thank you. That dude, I watched, okay, again, getting carried away. I decided that I was out on Jordan Love because I watched him play a game against Wake Forest because I heard all this hype that he was Patrick Mahomes 2.0, and I saw him throw 3 picks and just make some terrible decisions, and I decided, not my guy. Michael Penix, on the other hand, when I watched him play, I was like, that guy can make every freaking throw. And I know he's old and has bad knees, but he can make every throw. I think he's going to be good. We'll see. He had a good game yesterday, but whatever. But when I watched Daniels play against Missouri, that was like the one time I really watched like an entire LSU game. He was phenomenal in that game against Missouri last year.
Heisman Trophy winner.
Sometimes you watch a guy and you're like, this dude is amazing. I didn't think he was going to be this good this early in his NFL career. But if you watch that game, now I know that that Hurts got hurt in the game. He left, concussion protocol, whatever.
Yeah, Pickett got hurt too.
Yeah.
They don't win that game if Hurts stays healthy, though.
It was 14-0 at the point, right? When he got hurt.
Maybe not. Maybe I don't know. But
still, you got to credit
36 points
when he threw the pick with 2.5 minutes to go. I'm like, oh, they're toast.
Yeah.
But then Philly had to settle.
Drop pass. Devontae Smith dropped a pass that would have salted the game away. But that dude, how many times on like a 3rd and long or a 4th and long?
Just makes the play, man.
He scrambles. There was one of those plays where he scrambled, and it was like there were 3 guys that had an angle on him, and I don't know how he slipped past all of them, but he did.
He's great.
He
is great. But, and this is a but, we were talking just like this last year about C.J. Stroud. Just like it.
It's hard.
I mean,
it was hard.
He had the best rookie season of any quarterback
100%,
ever.
100%. And people were crowning Jordan Love before this year even started because of the good year that he had last year.
Good finish to the year, yeah.
You are totally right, Jake. Like, you're totally – but I feel like if he stays healthy, this dude is legit. Like, I think he's better than Stroud. And Stroud, I think, is still very good, by the way. I don't think it was, like, crazy for people to say, wow, Stroud – like, I think Stroud proved – because I think some quarterbacks, you're like, well, we don't really know yet. We don't really know. There's a lot of first rows like, okay, we're 3 years in on Justin Fields. That was the talk in Chicago, right? We're 3 years in and we still don't really know because he puts up some good numbers, but then he doesn't win games. And I feel like with Stroud, we have a pretty good idea. He's a good quarterback.
He is good, but here's the hard part. I think the NFC is more available for a young quarterback to be the dominant young quarterback than the AFC.
Well, because you got Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes.
And Jackson.
And Lamar Jackson. I mean, that's tough sledding.
And Herbert.
And so
I think
and C.J. Stroud.
it's a lot.
And Tua.
Yeah,
And
I think you're getting generous with Herbert and Tua personally,
but still,
I'm not a Tua
it's-
guy. I'm just saying
it's crowded.
yeah,
it's
crowded.
crowded. Patrick Mahomes is the old man.
Yeah.
In that group we just mentioned.
Yeah,
there,
but
by
I
the
think
way.
we're talking like there are good quarterbacks in the NFC.
We're talking top 5.
but
the cream de cream.
we're talking about MVPs and Allen, Jackson,
Mahomes.
and
And
then
Burrow.
Burrow's the guy that's been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So and he's playing MVP caliber.
Right. If his
you know,
team was
football.
worth a
Yeah.
blank,
Yeah.
they would
So
be. His name would be all over the MVP.
If you want to be the guy in a conference, the NFC is the conference where you want to go be. There's a bunch of good quarterbacks, but is there a great one? And
He's making waves in a division that has like the attention of the national media and everything, because it's the Cowboys and Giants and Eagles. These are big cities, and Washington D.C. and he's winning some of these games, man. He's had some of the biggest moments of the year already.
At a franchise that has been
disgustingly bad
and disgusting.
Yeah,
like they've been unlikable, they've been unwatchable, they've been terrible. And he all of a sudden has them good. But I just feel like when I look at those teams in the NFC. Are there better teams than the Commanders? Yes. But which guy do I want to see face off against Patrick Mahomes?
No, I got it.
It's him.
Yeah.
It's him. I don't know, man. I watched that yesterday. I just thought, sign me up for that game.
I don't know. I'll take Chiefs Detroit if you're looking for best matchups. That's
with all the injuries Detroit has. Hey, it would still be great.
Let's put the cart before the horse right here. You ready?
Yes, the cart is well in front of the horse right now.
The Chiefs play the NFC East next year, so we're going to get the matchup.
Ooh.
I think it's on the road, too. No, it'd be home next time because they played there a couple years ago.
Look at Leabo. Hey, we'll continue to get way ahead of ourselves with Pete Sweeney in studio next, right here on New Day with SSJ.